Om. 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 I don't- Just to uh, recollect what was discussed last week, we are continuing to discuss the qualities of a jnani. We have, I think, covered about 15 qualities. The last two qualities which were discussed were anashakti and think samatvam, if I remember correctly. Swami says we should not have moha towards anything in this world. We should treat everything with a sense of sneha, of friendliness, for what it has to be used for, and not think of them as ours without mamakara. And I think then Swami goes on to talk about samatva, the feeling of equanimity in opposite results, with respect to opposite results. And he says the detachment, samatvam, will act as the umbrella for a rain and a chapel on a thorny path. I think those were the topics which were discussed. I will stop here and we can continue from where we left off. Saya.
Sorry, Uncle. Should I go
Yes.
on to the next one?
Yeah, I think so. If everyone is fine, we can go on to.
Did you have anything to add, Uncle, about just what's the difference between using something with sneham versus not being getting stuck to it like asakti?
See, the reality is the world has stickiness. Okay. So it has to be handled with care. I think that's what Swami is selling based on what I was able to understand. So the world is sticky. If you touch it, it will stick. But Swami says we need to use it also, because on a need basis, a friend is a friend in need is a friend indeed. So friend is always used as someone with whom we have a positive relationship, maybe mutually beneficial relationship, but they don't come home. We don't take them home. We come, we meet, we do things together, we are positively disposed towards them. There's a tendency to get attached. But Swami says, just be wary of that. I think that's what Swami is saying based on understand. So in the world, we have to use everything with a positive state of mind, beneficially for ourselves as well as to the world. And I think that's friendliness. Maitri. So Swami uses the word Maitri, means one who is positively inclined towards anyone who is with whom we interact. So I think it's a positive quality as long as it doesn't deteriorate into sticky, possessive relationship, whether it's people, things, or circumstances. I think that's the way I understand. I think that came through. I think there were different people voicing, and that's what I understood. So there's nothing more for me to add. I've just summarized. So,
I'll read the next paragraph. Next is bhakti without any other thought or feeling, ananya bhakti. When grief overtakes you, you run to God. When sankata, trouble, overpowers you, you take refuge in the Lord of Vankata. When joy is restored, you throw him overboard. When you are down with fever and your taste is ruined and your tongue is bitter, you crave for some hot pickle. But when the fever subsides, you are normal again. You do not relish the same pickle. Bhakti is not a temporary solve. It is the unbroken contemplation of God without any other interposing thought or feeling.
Thank you. Auntie, you want to read?
సాయిరామ్. ఇక అన్య భావన లేని భక్తి కలిగి ఉండుట.
Swami says to have devotion without any foreign feeling, any outside feeling.
సంకట సమయమున వెంకటరమణుని తలంచి,
At the time of difficulty, thinking of Venkataramana,
సుఖము ప్రాప్తించగానే శ్రీనివాసుని చిత్తము నుండి తొలగించుట.
when everything is fine and we are happy, we forget or lose the Srinivasa.
అటువంటిది కాదు.
It is not like that.
లేక నోరు చెడినప్పుడు రుచికారకై,
Or when the mouth is afflicted with
when it becomes tasteless.
Tasteless.
It becomes tasteless. When the tongue becomes tasteless, ఏమైనా పుల్లటి ఊరగాయలు,
so to eat some pickles which is sour,
నంజుకొనినట్లు అప్పటికప్పుడు ఉపయోగపెట్టు వ్యంజనము అంటది కాదు.
So God is not some
pickle
or any substance which we consume once in a while to overcome some negative state.
ఏమి వచ్చినను సర్వకాల సర్వ అవస్థల యందును,
whatever happens, at all times, in all states of mind,
భగవంతునితో విభక్తుడు కానివాడుగా ఉండవలెను.
one who remains without any separation from the Lord.
అట్టి అనన్య యోగమునే అన్య భావన లేని అనన్య భక్తి అని అందరూ.
That kind of state without any other distraction is called Ananya Bhakti, or Bhakti without any other thought.
ఏ పని చేసినా, ఏ మాట ఆడినా, ఏ పాట పాడినా భగవంతుని అనురక్తి కలిగినదే అనన్య భక్తి.
Whatever we do, whatever we sing, whatever we are engaged in, thinking of the Lord at all times is Ananya Bhakti.
Just stopped reading up to that,
Yes, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Or should we go further? If she reads, I can.
Did we discuss that, or did you want me to read, Auntie, the next one?
No. Let us discuss about Ananya Bhakti.
Okay, so the Swami is talking about Ananya Bhakti. That is Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yebana. It's without any other thought, thinking of the Lord, is Ananya Bhakti. And Swami says we should not use him as and when we need, like pickles. We should you think of him at all times without any break.
In Kannada, we say that Sankata Bandaga Venkataramana. I think in Tamil also must be saying the same thing. Do you say that?
I don't know, because in Tamil, I don't know how many Tamil devotees are Venkataramana Bhaktas. But I think we are familiar with that.
Yeah, of course. Sankata Bandappo Venkataramana. Only when we are in trouble, when we are in grief, we call out to him and then forget about him afterwards.
Yes.
So that's not the Ananya Bhakti.
So in the Telugu, it's not saying anything about fever. It's just saying when the tongue is tasteless, you sometimes use pickle.
Yeah. Noru chedinappudu, he says, when your taste becomes tasteless, tongue becomes tasteless. Because usually when you have fever, you don't feel like tasting anything. It doesn't say about fever.
Anyone else would like to comment on this, or if not, we can move on.
Bhakti is not a temporary salve. SALVE. What is that? Temporary salve.
Some sort of something which we apply, Auntie. It's like yes,
Ointment.
something like an ointment, yeah.
Ointment, salve.
Which we apply whenever there's something wrong, we just apply.
Yeah.
When there's a skin issue.
Okay.
Or something is burning or something like that.
Mm.
If I think everyone seems to be okay, Auntie.
Okay.
Maybe we can proceed.
The last sentence, whatever we do, is it adina or does that mean dance?
No. Speaking is
Mata adina. Mata adina means to dance with the words. That means to speak.
Oh.
No, even ordinary speaking is also matladedi. That is yes, not necessary that they should dance. Even to speak is called matladedi.
Because in Tamil, aadradhu means dance, so that's why.
Dance illa.
Pani chesina means any work you do, any word you utter.
You utter.
Whatever song you sing.
Pata padina.
So are you thinking then the rest of the sentence?
Bhagavantuni anuraktini kaliginade. See, it means it should be attached with the love for the Lord. Anurakti means to be enamored by the Lord, so
deep interest. Anurakti. Rakti is to have a lot of interest in it.
So what is the translation? Saturated with love. That's what they have translated it. So it's fine, I think. Bhakti is anurakti towards Bhagavan.
Towards the Lord.
Bhakti is anurakti towards Bhagavan.
In something like this, like in whatever you sing, because I mean, when we are having like these practices, music practice and things like that for the pilgrimage, like when you're just focusing on, I mean, you're trying to focus on how to sing a song, the notes. I mean, you might see the meaning, you might be thinking of the meaning, but is it possible to feel love at all times when you're doing something like technical or something like that?
Good question. So I will open it up. Is perfecting the notes and things like that, can that be done with anurakti towards the Lord, love towards the Lord? I think that's the question Kalyani is asking. Anyone would like to comment?
Even when you are perfecting the swaras or the raga or the tala, it is for the sake of the Lord that you are doing. Love is mixed there. Love for Bhagavan is there. Unless love is there, you want to offer the best thing to you, to the Lord. So your interest, why you are taking so much interest in talam, ragam and the ba, it's only because you have the intention of giving to the Lord the best. So love is there, bhakti is there. Otherwise, you would not be concentrating on the raga or the tala. Sairam.
It's so easy to think more about like how you are doing it, and to get drawn into that, or like how am I singing, that kind of feeling, instead of thinking about the Lord when you're doing that kind of a practice. That's why I'm asking.
Avoid ego when you're singing that I am singing for the Lord. No, we are all singing for the Lord. That feeling should naturally come to us. Not that, I am singing, my shruti is okay, my song, my talam is okay, my ragam is okay. Instead of thinking, you are offering to the Lord whatever you are capable of.
Anyone else would like to add? Yes, Brother Dasan.
So, Sairam, brother, so whatever you do in your life, it could be anything. The God thought supposed to be there. So that love supposed to be there. So, that what we were talking about, one lady was taking the water pot, and that baby is at home, but her mind is with the baby because she has to go reach home faster. Even though she is seeing everything, activities and around her, her thought is with the baby. Same thing, we can do any kind of work, but the thought supposed to be with the Lord. That's what we have to be full-time devotee instead of a part-time devotee. Now, full-time devotee mean whatever you do before you think about the Lord. Doesn't matter. It could be spiritual work or at home, at your home or office or on the road. Thank you, brother.
So, brother, you talked about the lady carrying the water, thinking of the baby. So, what about God?
Sure, because carrying that thing, she was thinking about that kind of in your mindset. Whatever you are doing the action, your mind's supposed to be with the thought. I can talk to you some jokes with you. Sometime I can do some other work, but that my mind's supposed to be connected to the Lord. That means that love is always there. I won't harm anybody. So the love is always there.
But if the lady is thinking about the baby, I don't know how she can think of the Lord also at the same
No,
time.
because that lady is not thinking about the Lord, but her mind is just one pointer. The concentration is with the baby because he pitched the water and she has to come back home in time,
So,
and her mind is nothing else, only thinking about the baby.
yeah, but then such a lady is not thinking of the Lord. I think
But
Kalyani's question is that, see,
okay,
you are already focusing on something.
yeah.
See, that's what her point is. You're looking at the tune, the raga, and all that. At that time, we are not able to think of the Lord. So, how can it be saturated with love?
So first, before doing that one, you are saying, okay, so, Lord, I'm going to practice this one. Okay, then after that, you do your stuff you already offered. Now you have to practice and you have to concentrate your raga and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to? So I think, I don't know, Kalyani, whether Auntie has nicely explained and Brother Dasan. So I think one of the things when we are practicing songs is, even if you're going to sing something, you can think, will this please the Lord? If I perfect this and sing, will it please? So even in music, sometimes we are caught up in exhibition also. You see, that type of perfection also sometimes comes in. But we should make sure that, I think, whatever we practice, we make our voice sweeter. So for the Lord's sake, whatever we are saying, will the Lord like it? I think with that kind of intention, if we practice, I think that becomes. So there are two ways we can practice some piece of song. Can we show something very complicated so people will be impressed, or we can do something the Lord will be pleased. So I think there is potential trap which we will have to watch out for, and we should the Lord as the potential audience should be always thought of. I think that's something which we can keep in mind. And Brother Dasan was talking about the lady with the baby and the pot doesn't have time to think of the Lord. So he said she will think before and after, or something like that. And the Lord, I'm going to, you know, uh, um, how will can see many actually this is a problem for all of us when we are doing work, office work, homework. Swami has given some techniques like for women, do the chapati, you are spreading your heart and cut the vegetables. But I don't know how we can do that with office work. because that also gets covered. In the Swami says, whatever the activity, recreation or talk, it must be saturated with love of God. Anyway, I will stop here. Auntie Saku.
Sai Ram. In Prashanti, they sing while doing laddus and everything. Do they look for talam or rhythm? Nothing. It comes from their heart, the bhava comes. So not everybody is musically knowledgeable. You can sing from your heart, forgetting about, while you're singing, even the laddu will come properly. There's no any kind of external influences are there. Divine influence is there. So it will become tastier, it will become prettier when they make the balls and they deliver to the audience. So there is only their bhava, their bhakti, that is all matters. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you. Yes, Sai Satish.
Ramana. So just adding to the points that were told, even as we are practicing that music, and it's happening that the mind sometimes is taking over in terms of the meaning or in the nuances of rendering that music. If you can just pray to Swami, Swami, please help me concentrate on you, because the whole purpose of doing this is for you, and keep getting that thought of pulling Swami back into that conversation or the dialogue in the mind. I think that will help render meaning to what and why we are doing a particular thing. And like how Auntie Sakku was saying, if bhava is there, then I think bhava will come, because Krishna and Arjuna, they were calling one another bhava, bhava. And bhava is there, then baba also will come. So I think ultimately it is just looping in that continuous dialogue. Swami, this is for you. Please help me focus on you even as I do this. That sincerity, if it is there in the effort, then I think God's grace will flow. It's just the sincerity and the purity, because Swami has said, where you have unity, you have purity, then divinity manifests. So if our unity is, Swami, I am singing for you, I'm thinking of you, and that act of singing, so there itself we will have like Trikarna Shuddhi of unity. And if you are sincerely, with that sincerity, if it is offered, then purity will come in, then it will help to connect with divinity. So again, it will help to stay even in that intricacies of whether it's a musical rendition or the office work. Swami, I am doing this for you. And today's study circle also, we discussed that Tasmai Namaha Karmane. So if we just tell Swami, this activity, I'm offering it to you, and do it with that sense of sincerity, humility, then divinity will come in. Saira.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Yes, Auntie Saku.
Yes, Sai Ram, to go along with Sai Satish, this is a truly which happened. Baba was delivering, Bhagawan was delivering a discourse at Prashanti. At the same time, he went to a factory where the women were singing the glory of Bhagavan and doing chapati. He went to the factory at the same time, simultaneously appeared in both places, and he blessed. He said, the Sai Baba has come to bless you. I heard you. I'm coming here. I am here to bless you. So it doesn't matter whether you have musically knowledgeable or not. If there is a bhava in you, devotion in you, bhakti in you, that is enough for to bring Baba in two places. He was delivering a discourse at the same time he appeared, because he is Bhagawan is avatar. He can be in many places. So Sai Ram, that's a proof for us.
Only many places, Auntie.
Huh?
Swami can
No,
be
I
only.
mean 2 places he can be. I don't know in 3 places, but I know only 2 places.
I thought he was in all places. Okay,
No,
sorry.
I mean, Baba is a Antaryami, right? He can
Yes.
be in everyone's heart. He is
Okay.
in all creations. So it's nothing for Baba.
Thank you, Auntie.
Right.
So, because I was just thinking, like the reason for singing any song is because I mean, the purpose would be to bring out bhakti, I guess, in us.
Yes.
But if the process, like, so if we're doing some process that's actually just taking us away from feeling that bhakti, then, is it better to spend that time doing something else where you more easily can feel bhakti? I mean, depending on the individual, like.
I think yeah, that's right, Kalyan. I think Swami that's what Swami would encourage. But then if we are unable to feel bhakti, is the activity or is it something we have to work on? I think that's also another thing. So it's a funny, there are many people say, I don't like bhajan, I like to do seva. There are people who tell this also. But I think we have to investigate and see whether something we have to work on, or is this activity itself is. I will stop here rather than confuse. I will ask others to comment on it. So, if we have an activity which is not allowing us to connect to the Lord, should we change it? Should we pick an activity where we can connect to the Lord? I think that's a question from Kalyan. Did I paraphrase it slightly?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Sister Shivana.
Just to continue what the discussion was about, the singing bhajans and learning the technicalities and all of those things. How I was thinking is that bhajan singing is like communication with Swami, right? His Lord is communication through bhajan. And how I am seeing is when you're communicating, of course, the way you write something, the message will be delivered to the person, understood the intent, but there's always an opportunity, the placement of words, the right choice of words, minimizing the words, and understanding the person who is writing that with emotions, and so that it doesn't distort. So how I see is that bhakti, that bhajan, or anything you are refining is a communication. You're refining that communication so the right message with the right intention, right feelings will reach it. Though he understands, he's antaryami, he knows what you're saying, but our efforts are more important. How much efforts we are putting there in minimal words and minimal thinking that we can convey that message. For example, I just know few bhajans and I sing all the time, maybe the same bhajans. And people have told me, Shivani, increase your bhajan list. But something I have learned from, watching videos of Swami discourses, that every time you should feel is a different bhajan. Means because you're adding little more finding tune, or your feeling is a little different. That and I practice the same bhajan maybe 100 times. Again, whenever I offer, I practice with the same intent, because there's something different this time. Every time is different. So to me is bhajan, when you're learning, is you're finding tuning in your communication with him. Hey, I'm connecting this time a little different, and I want to practice, and finding every sur, rag, bhakti, bhavam, everything should fall in place, so you will get that message clearly. Sorry.
Sai Ram, thank you. Sister Vasudha.
Hi, Ram. I just wanted to reply to sort of Kalyani's question. I don't think that by perfecting your singing or the bhajan, it's making it inferior in any way. You can enhance that if your focus is on God. Like Sakku auntie said, not everybody is blessed with the sort of talent for singing or composing. You do what you can to your best, but as long as the focus is on God and the intention is to, like Sister Shivani said, to communicate with Swami, that bhakti enhances your sadhana. You choose bhajan as an instrument, as a tool, or sadhana to reach God. Somebody else picks seva. And no matter what you're doing, you enhance it by focusing. And definitely, if you're trying to sing a bhajan, I think if you can perfect it with, like practice, of course, makes man perfect, but paying attention to the sur and the tal and the, and then the bhava comes through it. The bhava is like the emotion or feeling, and then that automatically adds that spiritual essence to it. So I don't think by trying to focus on the words and memorize them or whatever is making it inferior in any way, and you have to look for something else to do. Whatever you're doing, do it to your best, and that enhances the spiritual connection. Is how I feel. Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Yes, brother Yo Kumaran.
Sairam, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. The public version we should definitely practice lots. And one time the Dr. VP Singh in the interview room with other people, someone asked her to sing. Dr. sings a song, so off Suram, off Tar, and the Swami on the bliss. And he's swinging the hand and he enjoy the bhajan. The people who are in the room, they don't enjoy that. And Swami opened his eyes and the bhajan finished. Says, sing, heart singing. I understand you don't like, but I like that bhajan. So individually, you enjoy sing. Heart-to-heart connection with the Swami is good. The public bhajan, you're supposed to sing properly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Auntie Sakku.
Yeah, sorry, I'm again coming. Now, for an example, the songs that we are practicing at Middlefield, the words kill your bhakti, your devotion. Ettane puravi edutha. That song really hits you. You automatically will express your bhava. So the words also adds to the bhava. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. So I'll just go back to Kalyani's question. If we are unable to connect to an activity, through an activity to the Lord, should we change the activity or pick an activity where we can connect? Does anyone have any thoughts? Yes, Sister Ananti?
Sairam, for this question, I think that if you do an activity, that should be done, that should bring you the happiness, first of all, before it makes others happy, we ourselves feel the happiness in doing that. So if an activity makes you, the unhappy, maybe under feeling or miserable, then we have to think about whether that sort of activity, whether can I improve my time and effort in that activity, or if I cannot, whether I can switch into another activity that will make me feel more happiness. That is one thing. And also, even though I am selecting an activity as my communication with Swami, I also have to think about maybe at this point in time in my life, this activity may be much more comfortable and liking activity to me. But maybe in uh, my life goes into different phases. I may need another activity, maybe when I move into the last phase of my life, I cannot run around and I cannot do the server activity at that time. I need something else, to communicate with Swami. That's why even in the university, brother, I don't know, you mentioned that even though we specialize in a program, in the major program, there would be some minor, the programs, minor subjects, because they wanted to give us maybe even though we mastered in one thing, we should at least the basic knowledge in other things. That's why even though we may not be the master in the singing or the maybe uh, mm, facilitating the study circle or something, at least we should have some sort of knowledge. And that's why my thinking is, we even though we are not comfortable in one activity, at least we should try to get some sort of taste in it. Maybe anything in our life, in the first try, second try, we wouldn't like it. But when we are forced, even in the work, then after some time, we started liking, then we got into that, maybe that sort of a mental state we have to bring in. And also, Thalam Bhavam, I still remember that one of the music directors, he told, uh, Thalam is very, very important. Thalam is equivalent to a heartbeat of a man, how heartbeat is important to a man. If a heartbeat is missing or overbeating or underbeating, we know what's the consequences. That's why even we may miss other things, the thalam is very, very important kind of explanation, he gave the from that in the day onwards, I tried to maybe other things may fall, at least the thalam should be there, that's equivalent to a heartbeat kind of, Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Sai Satish, please go.
Saramana. Since the point mentioned by Swami is Ananya Bhakti, in that context, what Sister Kalyani mentioned, of course, in terms of retaining the focus on the Lord during an activity that we feel is not conducive enough, is definitely there. But at the same time, we know that like ships are made not to be docked at port. So though the mind feels comfort in certain activities, again, the mind is also getting into a, I don't know if I can use the word like, dislike, but in a subtle sense, it is appreciating one over the other. But ultimately, the whole point is it should lead to a state where in the middle of a market, we still are able to focus on Swami, despite the din happening around us. So while one activity can help us focus and the other activity might not, while continuing the activity that we are able to retain focus, we should not let go of the activity that is not giving us the same focus as the other activity, but try to see how best can the same focus come into this activity as well, because then it will go from activity to become Ananya Bhakti. So ultimately, it is any activity that we do that the focus comes. So if automatically we are beginning to get into a state where I say that I will give up this activity because it's not giving me focus, the question is that list getting bigger and bigger, or is the list getting smaller and smaller? Because if it is getting smaller and smaller, then we are helping to go towards Ananya. Of course, while reiterating the fact that we don't give up the sadhana, which gives us that kind of focus, because that is the focus we need to bring into other activities. That is not giving us that focus. And ultimately, it is to see how we feel, like not in the sense of the small I ego sense, but in general, the connect. Because if we essence it in one activity, then praying to Swami that we essence it in the other activity, we continue with it and we keep at it. And it took us time to sit up, it took us time to walk, it took us time to even adjust to normal rise. So it will take us some time to adjust to even this, but essentially we'll get there. Right.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Aunt Saku.
Yeah, Saira. Here, Krishna says, it is the unbroken contemplation of God without any other interposing thought or feeling. So it is unbroken contemplation of God. You should not have any other thought or feeling on top of that contemplation. So contemplation alone is Ananya Bhakti. Unbroken, 24/7.
Thank you very much, Auntie.
Thank you.
So, Kalyan, the question, I think Sister Ananthi talked about all-round development, and Sai Satish also complemented that with, we should strive towards some activities. I thought I will add to that because there are a few activities Swami has picked out for his devotees in terms of sadhana, like bhajan, seva, and study of his teachings, so I think some of them are sort of become intricate. Talking about sound, focusing on Shruti, I think there's a discourse where Swami is telling there are 9 elements to bhajan. So, if we are going to attend bhajan, we have to pay attention to all the 9 elements. And as Sister Ananthi said, talam is like heartbeat. Swami also says talam is like a discipline. It's discipline of, sticking to a particular time scale or number of beats and so on. So I think there are certain things to learn from. And also just the sound, paying attention to sound itself is considered nadopasana. You see the sound itself is nothing but the Lord. So there are many ways we can connect whatever we are doing to the Lord, depending on how we feel. So I think we have to give it some effort to an activity, which could potentially become a manner of connecting with the Lord or communicating with the Lord, as Sister Shivani said. So I'll stop here. I hope there's something to mull over, and we can, if it's okay, then we can continue on.
The last paragraph.
I just want to clarify, in the English it says whatever the activity or recreation, but Swami's not saying recreation, I think, right?
See, the recreation talk, I think pata art, art. So sort of, I think he is just, it may be not a direct word-to-word translation, but I think he's trying to give the sense. That's a sense. But
Ye mata adina, ye pata padina. There, I think it is recreation or talk. That's the translation which you can get it.
When I think of recreation, I think of like doing things just for pure like relaxation or sense gratification, but Swami has never encouraged any kind of recreation, I think, in that sense.
Don't go into it.
I think Swami has not banned recreation as long as the recreation is of a positive nature. Because I think sometimes human mind is something which it needs some amount of recreation. because the mind otherwise tends to get bored with some activities. So, and as students, Swami used to engage himself also in recreation with the boys or students or devotees also. I think Mani Aunty would know, from those days how Swami used to play with them.
Yeah.
And the olden days.
What kinds of recreation would Swami involve in?
Mani Aunty.
Taking us to the Chitravati banks. There, he would sit and crack jokes. Everybody would laugh. And then he will pick up one person, then, he will pull, pull that person's feet, saying that you are this, you are that. So everybody participated in it. Just like any other ordinary jokes which we used to have. And sometimes even, for example, one of our aunties, Subhadra auntie, she would keep the rice on the stove for cooking. And then she would say, Sainata nu chuskopa. You take care of it. He will say. And then Swami would repeat it. Subhadramma, she keeps rice on the stove and then asks me to take care of it. See what all the things I have to do for the sake of the devotees. He would say that. Just like this, creating the Saira.
Thank you, Auntie. And Swami used to play jokes and practical jokes also with devotees.
Yeah, practical.
So I think it's not, spirituality is not all, uptight, castor oil face, as Swami would say,
No, never had.
Sai Satya, you would like.
You would laugh.
So I was just saying, either during when Swami would come to the hostel, or even when he would take boys to Kodaikanal, when Swami would go out for a picnic or otherwise, it was always fun and laughter. And in those moments, Swami will use to convey the highest philosophy. So he would always say, no castor oil face. It could be just like pass on the parcel. And this literally played in Swami's presence. And suddenly some person would get something to sing, and some person will get something to dance. That is a person who doesn't know anything about dance, and a person who doesn't know anything about singing will usually end up getting that. And it'll be all fun. And it's like Swami would not complicate spirituality, in the sense it is not like resting somewhere very far off, which cannot be applied to day-to-day life. Everything that Swami showed was like what Anna was telling earlier, making chapati or cutting vegetables, or what Mani Aunty said, cooking rice. You can involve Swami, and that's what Swami did. So anything that helps to connect, like Swami even turning on the tap and then while having a shower thinking of God, like in terms of simplifying and connecting to Swami, that would be the case. And in recreation activities, anything that we would do as when family and friends get together in a normal sense, that's how Swami would also be, because he would never at any point in time keep telling you that I am God, please maintain your respect in front of me, kind of a thing. It was always, I am one with you. That is the feeling Swami would always create. So any recreation activity that is able to help ease the mind, and at the same time we can have something connected even around Swami's life, Swami's teachings, anything related to seva. So those, it becomes recreational activity, but again the focus comes back to Swami, so that it'll just help lighten the moment but stay connected. I know.
In this, maybe some lighter joke, it's a story Swami told. Apparently, there was one businessman. He could never find time to think of God. All his activities he couldn't. So he went to his guru and told, "See, look here, I have a big problem. See, I'm not even getting time to think of God during in 24 hours. You need to solve this problem for me, because the business is just consuming me completely, and my family challenges and things." So the guru asked about his daily activities and asked him whether he can think of God during the different activities which he took part. He just couldn't figure out any activity during which he could think of God. So then the Guru asked, so what are other things which you do? He said, I just take shower, I use the toilet. So then the Guru said, okay, maybe that will, is it regular? So he said, yes. So he said, whenever you use the toilet, you think of God, say Ram Ram. So apparently once he was saying Ram Ram while he was using the toilet, and Hanuman happened to pass by. He got so mad, upset, so he slapped the person. And then when he went to see Rama's cheeks were swollen. Then Hanuman asked Swami, what happened? He said, you slapped me. Because when my devotee was thinking of me, you slapped him. So I had to take on the slap. So this is a story told by Swami. So Swami says, find any activity and think of the Lord. So that was Swami's way of telling that no activity is where you cannot think of the Lord. So I'll stop here.
What would you say? Because I understand if you're going on a picnic with Swami, it's pretty easy to feel, something like that. Swami will talk about, like you said, he will make everything about spirituality in some way, like he will convey those messages. But how about our center doing a picnic, or like that kind of thing? Because then it is hard to maintain that focus unless you have people who can do that. I think is that a beneficial activity is what I'm asking.
Very good question. I will open it up for everyone to comment. Can a center have a picnic, and can we maintain a spiritual element there? It may be easy to do with Swami. Because Swami is saying whatever the activity or recreation. So we're still discussing what Swami is saying. So it's a practical thing, how can the center organize a picnic, or just the way Swami is doing it? And can we make it spiritual? And how can we, if at all, how can we make it spiritual? Yes, Sister Shivani.
This is my learning from our past study circle, I think 2 weeks ago, that anything we see or see is from our body and mind, right? Our mind is saying like, dislike, beneficial, non-beneficial. But in that conversation, what I gathered is when you're focusing at your true self, your true identity, then there won't be any question of like, dislike, beneficial, non-beneficial. Everything is right. Everything is spiritual. Everything is God. The minute we remove our mind and body, so the consciousness, the concentration, everything, whether it's bhajan, anything we are doing full concentration, is there's no consciousness of your body and mind, then everything is godly. It's just, yeah.
So, sister, I understand everything.
I'm on quiz now. Okay.
No, because I'm just trying to, so that you can explain it to everyone. You said everything is, so does it mean all activities which happen around us, all like, somebody's going to a pub and, having a drink, is that also can be considered spiritual?
See, if somebody's considering that, I don't know whether that's the person's spiritual path. I can give you, okay, sometimes my family wants to go and watch a movie and they want to drag me. I go with them. How I see, how I'm perceiving, am I attached with that, what I'm doing? Sometimes I'm just doing, really, honestly, I'm Nam Smaran. I'm enjoying it. Physically, I'm with them, but I'm doing my own Nam Smaran, which they have no idea what I'm doing inside. So I think you are in the world, but yet you are not in the world. That's what I'm driving. You are there. Of course, sattvic food, sattvic thinking, sattvic thing is very important, right? But you can be in the world. You can enjoy the creation of the creator, but not attached with that, not into that. So there's no liking, disliking. It's beneficial, non-beneficial. It's good or bad. That's what we have to get out of it. That's what I'm thinking. So if you're going to a pub or anything, If yes, if you are at that spiritual level where you see, but can you work towards it that you still see that is spiritual? He has created that. Or how should I say? I don't know. It's just you just be there, but you're not there. I don't know how to explain that. You're physically there, you are there, but you are not attached to anything. Attached, or you're not thinking, you have no
But isn't it that due to attachment that we are going there?
sorry?
Aren't we going there because of attachment?
No, I'm not going there for attachment. It's a part
No,
of my worldly life.
So due to attachment. So I'm asking, we go to some of these activities due to attachment. We may not acknowledge it, but isn't that attachment is my question. See, I think the Ananya Chinta is, I think next topic will solve some of the other things which we are discussing. But my question is, see, Swami is one person to whom we are attached, Anurakti. Then the worldly relations also we are Anurakti. So because of that obligation, we go to an activity. The obligation comes only because we have obliged through attachment. So I think that's the question. Maybe
that are we attached? So are we attached? That's why we are going there. That's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking. See, we should not. You said we should not be attached to anything, or we should not be indifferent. But sometimes we go to these things because of attachment. So so you can think and answer. But I think that Kalyani's, I will repeat Kalyani's question. Kalyani's question was, as a center, should we organize a picnic and how can we make it spiritual? The way Swami made it is the question which I would like to answer. Yes, Brother Dasa.
Yes, Sairam, brother. Swami take students different places as a picnic, and he whatever we all discuss, he explained. Everybody is happy. That's what Swami always says. Live in the moment. You are not going to get the opportunity again. So today we are in the study circle. Tomorrow we don't know. So always think about the Lord. Have the love, have the bhakti. That is the main principle. So live in the moment. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Hi, Ramana. So if I have to put it this way, if in center activities, whatever we do, whether it is bhajan or seva, anything, obviously the focus is Swami and Swami alone. So even when we are having activities like picnic, ultimately, what is the purpose of that picnic? If we are clear with that, yes, as much as we are having it as a recreation activity and for the mind to feel a little relaxed, but at the same time, in terms of it reinforcing what is the true purpose of that activity, that we should be clear. And like you mentioned, sister, obviously when Swami's physical presence is there, the focus is directed onto Swami. Anything happens, it comes back to Swami. So in terms of staying focused, it helps, which means while designing the activity, we should completely accept that the challenges involved in this activity will be definitely a thing to heavily factor in. And then, given that we have these challenges, how do we make it Swami centric, even as we have it as the whole thing happening in Swami's omnipresence? So that we have to factor that in and then work through it so that every child to all the way to the elderly people, everybody who comes to such an event, ultimately go with the feeling that this has become one more opportunity to connect to Swami, rather than just at the level, oh, we all had a good time and then leave that event. So what's the thing that we essence at the end of it? That feeling of it being essential should be thought of in the planning. And even as we plan that, the whole thing has to be designed against that thing of how it would be if it were to be in the physical presence and work towards it. Then it would again, at least we aim to recreate such an experience when it would happen in the physical presence. So I'll leave it at that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Yes, Sister Shivani.
Then a question. I think it's confusing me now. So then, if I, as Sister Kalyani said, okay, do we need to go to center activity or the picnic, or then I'm weighing whether it's worth going there. I can sit and do my bhajan, my meditation, my nam smarana, and every time any sadhana will take precedence over anything which is more social or public. Then I am fine at home. Then I'm just at home and doing. I'm content. So won't it affect people I'm affiliated with around me? Won't it affect them?
It can have a positive effect. So, but you know,
You understand where I'm going? Where I'm going?
yeah, I
I
understand.
totally understand. I agree with that. I agree that we have to have a purpose where we are going. Then I'm thinking, is it affecting how it will affect people I'm affiliated with at home? Because my sadhana will take precedence. It will always be my priority then. Whatever I'm doing, hey, I'm fine. I'm content by myself. I am. But how about other people around you?
So I think I will park that question, sister.
Yes, sure.
You'll just address. I will just talk to Kalyani's question. See, Kalyani, about Swami's having picnic. See, whatever Swami has done is with an educational purpose. So Swami has shown how a picnic should be done, if at all anyone want to. And Sai Satish has nicely explained. It should be another sadhana. See, when the boys were having picnic with Swami, you are dressed accordingly in front of Swami. You behave as if Swami is present physically. You, with everything, has a spiritual slant. Everyone behaves with a certain sense of reverence, but at the same time, they're having a good time, if you want to put it that way. So I think any activity, even bhajans, if you're conducting without having the feeling that Swami is there physically present and maintain discipline, then that bhajan is also not a spiritual activity. So even a picnic can be had, but as Sai Satish said, everything has to be taken into account. And it's as if Swami is physically present. You put a chair for Swami, Swami is sitting there, and everyone behaves accordingly. So the same level of sadhana, I think that's what happened around Swami. And I think Swami did this, and there are videos there, and everyone can see it. Swami has intentionally done, even if you are doing a worldly picnic, Swami has to be there front and center. And you act accordingly, behave accordingly, and then it becomes sadhana by itself. Then that is a time when you had Swami amongst them. If that is there, then that has to be, then that's worth as a sadhana. I think that's the way I would put it, based on all the discussion. Now, if you're okay, we'll go back to Sister Shivani's question.
No, you have answered actually my question by explaining the purpose of picnics. Yeah, yes.
And I think I'll just add one thing, sister, because what happens in a we have people around us and they want to be part of some activity. We can go there and we can insulate ourselves and do our sadhana. But aren't we concerned about how they are spending their time and their life? See, we may think they should think positively about us. But aren't we concerned that they are spending their time in an activity without thinking of the Lord? And we are a silent witness to that. Can't we, so are we really caring and loving for them? So those are questions I think we can ask. I have no single answer, but I will just leave you to think it over. Because many times, even to centers we go because we are attached to people. If they say we want to go this route, we go along because we are attached to them. We don't even think what Swami would want us to do.
Yeah.
So, life, Swami throws these challenges at us because it's for us to learn how to live in this world. Who is the priority and what is the example we are setting for others around us? And I think we can go for leadership courses and this and that. So, but we should be very, very clear what is the example we are setting with our own life and our own behavior to others. You see, spirituality is not only about ourselves, also people around us. So sometimes when we take a particular stance, that sends a message. Maybe not today they will realize, but one day they will realize.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so. So we have a duty to help others also around us while helping ourselves. But anyway, yeah, this is a different situation, and each person has to make their choices based on the situation. So those are my thoughts. I will stop here. If anyone else has something
And
to.
you're right by saying, are we clear what we are looking for in life? When we are not clear, how can then we will go with where the wind will takes us, right? So absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Sairam. So I don't know whether we spent a lot of time on this activity discussion. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sairam, brother. I just one thing, brother, you're saying about looking at the other side of seeing that they are in that same line or something. Why do you think like that? I didn't understand.
What, sister?
Where we go one place and if they are not in the same or same way of state of mind, or we'll say. So that means being there itself, we are setting a wrong example, kind of.
Sister, because we see the thing is, okay, so maybe I'm just clarifying. I hope I am okay. See, the thing is, we go to a place where people are engaged in activity which may not be conducive spiritually. But then we sell ourselves, we are obliged to be here. But sitting here, we are going to think of God. So we are doing sadhana. Okay, so that's what we'll say. So the others will say, okay, this person is accepting our activity and they will continue to be engaging in that activity. Okay, they may not know whether we are doing sadhana or not. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I was saying was, sometimes setting an example of how we should spend our time, in what activity, in what company, may have a message for others around us also. Okay, so I will give the classic example of Bhishma. See, Bhishma knew what the Kauravas were doing was wrong. He was a great devotee, he's a Shanta Bhakta, he was, I'm sure, praying to Krishna and, thinking everything is okay. But the thing is, he was a silent witness, and Duryodhana and all thought, we are okay. Bhishma didn't say anything negative. He may have been doing his own Namasmaran. Vishnu Sahasranama, whatever, But what I'm saying is, Swami would say, you are a silent witness and you did not help them. So don't you care for them? Is something which the Lord may ask. That was my point, but
Okay.
I think I don't want to dwell on it. Okay. So
Okay.
I said that is also an activity. See, inaction is also an action. Being silent is also action. So we have to think through, because sometimes if we are going to go and change them, that's a different, but it's not easy to change people. But you can set an example. That was my point. I'm not saying that is right, but it is my one of the opinions you can consider.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Yes, Brother Thasam.
Yeah, I agree, brother, your point. Because of their desire is wrong, you cannot change them. If someone is desire, and if they don't have the bhakti, and if they don't have the love what Swami like, even though they know what is wrong and right, but their ego and it's very difficult to change them. Sai Ram, brother.
So if everyone is okay, we have spent a lot of time on this activity. Hopefully, we focus on Swami. We'll go to the next paragraph.
Ekantavasam.
Whatever the activity or recreation or talk, it must be saturated with the love of God. Oh, that is Ananya Bhakti. Thereafter comes Ekantavasam, dwelling in solitude. He must be fond of being alone. This does not mean keeping the body in some solitary place, far from the haunts of men. There must be solitude and silence in the mind. All its occupants must be forced or persuaded to quit. The mind should be nirvishaya, contentless, turned away from the objective world.
Thank you,
Okay.
Kamini. Auntie, you can read.
Yeah. Tadupari Ekantavasam.
After that, Ekantavasa, solitude.
Diniyandu Aviruchi Kaligi Undavalenu.
In this, one should have some fondness.
Yeah, they must be fond of it. Anaga కేవలము శరీరమును మాత్రము ఎవరు జనసంచారం లేని స్థానమున అడవులందన ఉంచినంత మాత్రమా ఏకాంతవాసము కానేరదు.
That means just mere action of keeping your body alone somewhere far away from people and their activities, such as a forest, does not by itself become ekantavasa.
మనస్సును నిర్విషయం చేసుకొనుట అభ్యంతర ఏకాంతం.
By keeping the mind unattached to any worldly objects, that by itself becomes an inner solitude.
అభ్యంతర ఏకాంతం.
Abhyantara, how can I translate it?
నాకు అభ్యంతరం లేదు అంటే there is no I don't resist it like that.
Okay.
Abhyantara. I think so. Just you can look at the dictionary afterwards.
Yes.
Last sentence I'll read. ఒక్క భగవంతుని తప్ప అన్య చింతలను కాని అన్య వ్యక్తులతో కాని చేరక.
So Swami's, sorry, Andy, okay. So only without except for the Lord.
అన్య చింతలను కాని అన్య వ్యక్తులతో కాని చేరక.
Without associating with other thoughts or with other people.
ఒకవేళ పెద్దలైన సాధకుల దగ్గర.
Or you remain near some great sadhakas.
పెద్దలైన సాధకుల దగ్గర చేరినను నిర్విషయ సంబంధము కలిగి ఉండట.
You have to have no association with the worldly objects.
Yeah. Even if you go to the venerable person, పెద్దలైన సాధకులు, even if you go to venerable persons like sadhakas, but you should be నిర్విషయ సంబంధము కలిగి ఉండట.
Even when you go near a great sadhaka, you should have your mind should be unattached to any worldly objects.
Yeah.
And the abhyantara is interior.
Abhyantara.
So Swami is talking about not only external solitude,
but
Swami is talking about internal solitude, which is the mind should not be attached to anything or anyone.
Yeah, okay. But we often say that నాకేమి అభ్యంతరం లేదు. That also it has a meaning.
So I think there is no inner compulsion.
That's correct.
No inner compulsion.
Anna, I was just thinking if abhyantaram is, I don't have any objection.
Objection.
The normal colleague, yeah.
Yeah, that's also another usage.
That's also meaning, but what you are saying is abhyantaram, inner ekanta, inner yes. Solitude.
Maximum meaning is saying internal, inner, intimate, and things like that.
So
So
that
Swami wants us to have solitude. He says not only physically being away, we should not associate with things or people, but in the mind also should not be attached to or anyone, any thought. So
when
we'll
is it,
stop here. We'll talk about Ekantavasa. Yes.
when is it manasunu nirvishayam chesu konutta? What does that mean?
That is, the mind should be made to be unattached to any worldly object. Nirvishya means without any worldly object, any worldly attachment. The mind should be made. Sari, Auntie? I will ask Auntie to.
Auntie, you're muted.
Vishaya means sense also.
Sensory inputs.
Sensory organs, sensory wishes, sensory desires. You should be away from that, sensory desires.
That is inner solitude.
Yes, the mind should also be in solitude.
Anything, yeah. We always say, Vishaya Vasana.
Well, when it says matramu, does it mean not only that, or is it saying so you should have the physical solitude as well as the inner solitude?
Where the second sentence is it?
Swami says, Shariramu matramu Kavaru Jana Sancharamulini Sthanamuna Adaviliyandu Unchinanta.
Unchinanta matramuna Ekavantam Vasu Kaneradu.
Just mere is that.
Mere.
Meaning that you don't
Merely-
have to be solitude, physical solitude.
So
Just
Swami, many people go to a solitary place and keep themselves quiet. Keep there and they think they are Ekantavasa. Swami says that alone by itself is not Ekantavasa. The mind also should becomes Nirvishaya. That means it should have no sensory inputs. The mind also. And then Swami says there should not be Anya Chintana, means no other thought. Then Swami Anya Vyaktula. Other people also should not be there.
yeah.
Okay. Without being attached, without associating with other people or other thoughts. Even such a time when you go to a great sadhaka, that time also you should be without any attachment to nirvishaya, that is worldly objects. Just Sister Vasudha.
Sairam, yes, Abhyantram in the little bit of Telugu I know means there's no objection, but I don't know how the Telugu script is written here, if it's Abhyantram or Abhyantram.
Kaad, Abhyantarame.
Abhyantram rasunda.
Abhyantara Ekant. Written
Maybe it was meant to be Abhyantaram. Antaram is the inside. And maybe, the script was like that. I don't know, but it possibly means in this context would be like the inner aspect, I think.
That's what.
And Nirvishaya, Vishaya can also be like issues. Or, there's so many, some of the words have so many meanings. Depending on the context, the spelling can also be same. But
Sister, Vishaya here, Swami, the next sentence, turned away from the objective word. That shows, that our desires, our sensory desires are always in the outside world. So that should not be there. So that's what Swami is trying to say.
Right. But overall, the solitude and he says he must be fond of being alone. So there's like a difference between loneliness, being alone, and being in solitude. Solitude is something you enjoy, and you reflect and contemplate in solitude. While being alone or lonely can often be a more sort of negative.
Loneliness, that's negative content.
Sairam, thank you.
Saira.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Auntie Sakhu.
Yeah, Saira Marno. I cannot understand. All its occupants must be forced or persuaded to quit. Can you, is that the thoughts or what does it mean? Please give some.
No, I think that's a translation for Adya Chintalaku Kani, Anya Vyaktalaku Kani Cheraka. That is, you should not associate with other thoughts or other people.
Other thoughts or other people?
Yeah.
That's a Telugu, that's what it is.
Swami.
Then Swami also says, Manasunu Nirvishayam Chesukonuta. That means if there were Vishayas, they should be all, ejected out. Okay. They should all, that's why all its occupant must be forced. Swami says, Nirvishayam Chesukonuta Abhyantareka. If you chase everyone out of your mind, every thought out of the mind, then it becomes Ekanta. It's a purging, it's a purging of whatever occupants of the mind.
What Swami is trying to tell us here, it's not merely living in a solitary place, thinking that I'm doing Ekanta Vasa. No, your mind should be cleared of all the desires for the outside world. That's what Swami is trying to do. Sairam.
Yes.
Sairam, I think Auntie explained very well. The Ekantavasa means is not only you have to be alone, with not only alone in your physical sense, mind also has to be cleared with everything. So Ekantavasa is both has to come together. So Ananya Bhakti is only talking about mind, right? Then Akantavasa is talking about mind and the body. Am I right, please? Thank you.
Yes, you could say.
Yeah.
Yes, Brother Dasan.
Sairam, brother. The solitude and the peace. So if we take, if you want to study for the exam, people can study in a library alone, and people can study in the Tim Horton or anywhere, or people can study in the TTC, and they pass. The person who study in the TTC might pass the exam than the person who study in the library. So the important thing is the mind. The mind supposed to be peace. You should not allow anything. The concentrate what you are doing, what is the purpose, then you can achieve the other worldly thing is not going to affect you because it doesn't go inside your mind. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
When
It's
Swami
Auntie Sakhu. I think Auntie Sakhu has said, I think from she has not put her hand down. No problem. You have something to say, Auntie?
All its occupants, does it relate to all the thoughts and disturbing the mind aspects?
Inside the mind, there should not be people or thoughts.
Okay. And you have to make them out. It's not the body has to go through a kind of a loneliness. It is anywhere you can be, but your mind has to be still in silence, solitude.
He didn't say you can stay anywhere.
See, the body, this does not mean keeping the body in some solitary place.
No,
far off from haunts of men.
See, I don't think the translation does justice to what Swami is saying. It's not merely keeping the body, your mind also should be alone.
But here it gives a different meaning.
Yes, I know. Swami used the word matramuna. That means by that alone is not. So that means something else is also needed. That is my understanding. Okay. So I don't think the English translation does justice to it. Okay. Swami, so Ekantavasa means being alone, solitude, but not only physically, even mentally. That's what Swami is saying. Auntie, is it right, Mani Auntie?
Right, what you are saying. Ekantavasam means solitary. This thing also, place is also welcome, and at the same time, mind also should be cleared of all the desires.
But it's not loneliness. They
It's
have to
not
do it
loneliness.
with a fond of it.
Loneliness,
Not
you know,
like
you
that.
get
They
bored.
shouldn't feel like that.
See, so the loneliness happens only when you are not sent out all
The
occupants.
mind is not to detach.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the problem. When you send out all the occupants of the mind, then
there's no loneliness because
There's
you find it happy.
yes.
Solitude is voluntary. Voluntarily, you are saying that you want to keep yourself away from a company. But loneliness makes you are there. Loneliness in that you feel the absence of others. That is loneliness.
Okay,
Can you
Kalyani.
do it while you are in the home? No. Can you do it? No. Okay, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
But Aruna, you don't have to go to places.
No, I'm just thinking about it.
You have your duty at home.
Yes. So
Yes,
Kalyani. Kalyani.
Uncle. So how do you reconcile this with having to do as you said that group sadhana is also important, because I think when you are having that solitude and you're able to connect to Swami so much easier in solitude, it makes it seem like and here it's even saying that it's important to have that solitude. So why do you need to do the group sadhana? I guess it's a question.
Very good question. So Kalyani is asking the question, if so Ekantavasam is needed, is individual sadhana not good enough? Why do we need group sadhana? Doesn't it go counter to this Ekantavasam? I think that's the question. I will open it up for others' input, but Sister Anandi had put her hand up, so I will ask what she has to share.
I previously put put my hand up because I also was little confused. I thought the Vasam not necessarily you keep away yourself from the people, but only your mind should be away from other thoughts, kind of, but our discussion, cleared, oh, now I understood that, we should be having both, keep away from the people as well as from the other thoughts, only focused on the Lord. That's what it says. If that is the case, maybe I am thinking that this dwelling in solitude is very, very difficult for us. How can we keep away from other people? In order to meet this requirement, the maybe even though maybe that never ever we will be having, unless otherwise if we they live alone, maybe detached from everything, and putting our thoughts only towards God, maybe only at that time we will meet this requirement. So how practically we are going to handle this situation? And the Sister Kalyani already addressed that one. We go and do the activities at the center, or maybe in that other group activities, and then we have to have some sort of uh, uh, some sort of interactions, and our thoughts and words and the actions should be synchronized with others. If we live alone, in solitude, and how we are going to achieve that part, that is a big question. Maybe some sort of maybe lights on that one, maybe after Hassan's questions or something.
So I think Brother Hassan, you have a question or answer?
Just comments only here. So, the solitary, this does not mean keeping the body in some solitary place. So even though your body is among everywhere, even the group of people, the mind supposed to be solitary, not the body. That is my understanding, brother. So you have to train your mind solitary, not the body. So because of the group of people in the ladder, for you to achieve the target, it's like a prakriti. Without the prakriti, you can't achieve the your final goal, self-realization. So same thing, the group of people, good sadhana people, important, but your mind supposed to be solitary, not the body. Thank you, brother.
Sai Ram, brother. Thank you. Yes, brother Sai Satish.
Sorry, Ramana. I'm mindful of the time. That's why I have an answer. It may be a long-winded, so I don't know if.
So then I think let everyone contemplate and come.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully remember, and if once we start, there'll be more questions once you finish what if
Yes,
you
sir.
say. So I think just park it in a solitary spot and we'll meet next week. Don't forget the thought. Just jot it down somewhere because it's 4:31. I think everyone will contemplate on this in Ekantavasam while doing Ekantavasam for 1 week and come back. We'll continue. So 2 questions outstanding. One is Sister Kalyana's questions. So how Ekantavasam, if it's body, we have to be separate, or the mind also separate? How can we do group sadhana? And doesn't this counter that? Number 1. Number 2, I think that's the only question, I think. So we'll get back. Just a clue. Shankaracharya said, Satsangatve Nisangato. Okay, we'll stop that and we will continue next week. We will close with Samastaloka. Sai Ram. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sai Ram, Sai.